Chapter 4. At 6:30 p.m., the McGuire station wagon pulled up in front of the Hildridge Mall. Mrs. McGuire smiled at Lizzie and her best friends as they unbuckled their seatbelts. "You kids have fun," she said. "I'll pick you up at 10. "Thanks, Mrs. McGuire," said Miranda. "Yes, thank you, Mrs. McGuire," Gordo added. Lizzie hesitated. She wondered if she should go through with it. Wasn't she a good girl? For instance, she did have the urge to stay in her seat until her mother turned the car around and drove her back home. But Miranda and Gordo were already climbing out of the car. It was too late to back out now. Lizzie leaned over and kissed her mother on the cheek. "Thanks, Mom. See you tonight," she said, taking a deep breath. She opened the door of the car and joined her friends on the sidewalk. Inside the mall, Lizzie and Miranda headed straight for the women's restroom, while Gordo waited in the hallway. Lizzie and Miranda used the restroom stalls to change into their party clothes. Lizzie threw on a pink sequin top, black pants, and a knee-high length black cardigan. Miranda slipped on sparkly black pants and a rust-colored vinyl jacket with a fake fur collar. Using the restroom mirror, they brushed mascara onto their eyelashes and dabbed on lip gloss. Checking herself in the mirror, Lizzie looked like a girl ready to party. She still felt guilty, but at least she looked like she was ready to have some fun. After about 20 long minutes of waiting, Gordo walked over and pounded his fist on the restroom door. Instantly, it flew open, and out came a plump, middle-aged woman. She scowled at Gordo and flicked him on the forehead with her index finger. Gordo turned bright red. Waiting for his friends was turning into risky business. When at last they were ready, the three friends ran back through the mall, reaching the bus stop by 6:58. Just as the bus was pulling up, on the 5-minute ride to Kate's house, Lizzie imagined that she saw her mother's station wagon driving past on the street. She was having a major guilt attack. By 7:03, they reached Kate's house, and Lizzie had a meltdown. "She gives me $10, she cried as they walked up to the door. "I lied to my mother, and what does she do? She gives me $10. "Can you please save the guilt thing until after the party?" Miranda asked. "Trust me, knowing you, it will still be there." "Not with me," Gordo said, pointing a thumb at his chest. "Guilt-free Gordo. You know why? 'Cause I'm bad," he whispered. Lizzie frowned. "No, 'cause you're allowed to be here," she whispered back. But Miranda was right. She thought she could feel guilty later. It was time to have some fun. She shook her hair away from her face, turned, and coolly pushed open the door. A wave of noise washed over them. Kate's living room was packed with strangers, and everyone looked way older, like they were in high school or even college. Guys in baggy clothes and girls wearing spiky jewelry were moshing in the middle of the room. Over in the corner, a DJ the size of a professional football player was nodding his head along to the beat. Someone had pulled all the cushions off the couch, and now they were batting them around like beach balls. Lizzie, Miranda, and Gordo stared at the scene in total disbelief. "Who are all these people?" Lizzie cried. Before Miranda could answer, Lizzie was suddenly lifted off of her feet. She screamed as two guys carried her into the middle of the living room. Next thing she knew, Lizzie was flat on her back, being tossed over the top of the mosh pit like one of the sofa cushions. "Help!" she screamed. "Lizzie, hang on!" Miranda cried. Miranda and Gordo watched Lizzie get tossed over the crowd a couple more times, and suddenly she disappeared from view. She'd been sucked into the mosh pit. Miranda and Gordo ducked this way and that, trying to see around the flailing bodies. At last they caught a glimpse of pink sequins. Lizzie's blonde head bobbed up from the crowd. "Lizzie, hang on, just go with it," Gordo called. But Lizzie screamed, so Miranda cried, "Give me your hand." She and Gordo stuck their hands into the pit, and Lizzie grabbed hold. They pulled, using all their might. Finally, Lizzie popped out of the crowd like a cork out of a bottle. They hustled over to the wall of the living room and huddled against it for safety. "What's going on here?" Lizzie asked. "Total chaos," said Gordo. And they still hadn't seen Kate, or anyone from school. "Let's stitch our coats and see if we can find anyone we know," Miranda suggested. Lizzie and Gordo nodded. Together they made their way over to a hallway closet. A sign taped to the door said 7 minutes in heaven in orange crayon. Lizzie opened the door, flipped on a light, and gasped. Kate's cousin Amy and a college-age guy were standing between the coats, kissing. When the light went on, Amy looked up. Her curly blonde hair was all messed up, and her lipstick was smeared. She glared at Lizzie, Miranda, and Gordo. "Wait your turn," she snapped. Sorry, Lizzie said, nervously turning off the light and pulling the door closed. She looked at her friends helplessly. Gordo pointed to the closet and frowned. "I think that was our chaperone," he said. Chapter 5. Lizzie, Miranda, and Gordo huddled together in the coat closet. They circled the party twice, but this was the only place they could find that was safe and quiet enough to talk. I thought the whole class was coming. Do you see anybody you know? Gordo asked. I don't think so, Miranda replied. Nobody in our homeroom has a beard. I guess their parents wouldn't let them come either, Lizzie said. Gordo shook his head. This is bad. New plan. I say we go back to the mall, split a giant cookie, and call it a night. I'm there, Lizzie said. Vamonos, said Miranda. On my count, Gordo said. 1, 2. Suddenly the door opened. Ah! Lizzie and her friends fell back, shrieking. Kate stood before them, hands on her hips. Your 7 minutes was up 10 minutes ago, she said, as she tapped her watch. Don't worry, Kate. We are just leaving anyway, Miranda told her. Lizzie dug through her purse and pulled out a small gift wrap box. Happy birthday, she said, handing the box to Kate. We had a lovely time. Thank you for inviting us. She started to edge toward the door, but Kate blocked her path. She was trying to think of a way to get Lizzie and her friends to stay without sounding like she wanted them to stay. I can't believe you guys are leaving before all the cool people get here, she tried. Gordo shrugged. That's us. Big fat losers. Bye. Together, Gordo, Lizzie, and Miranda stepped towards the door. Wait. Kate held up her hands, blocking their way again. We're about to cut the cake. There's cake? Gordo's eyes widened. He grabbed Lizzie and Miranda and pulled them back. You guys, there's cake. Lizzie and Miranda rolled their eyes. Gordo wasn't allowed sweets at home. His parents thought sugar was bad. Just then, Amy walked over, wheeling a huge cake on a serving cart. Kate looked down at the cake, which was covered with creamy white frosting and strawberries. You said you wanted chocolate, right? Amy asked her. Kate stared at the cake, which was clearly not chocolate. Right. Phew, Amy said with relief. I got strawberry. I like it better. I'm just glad I remembered what you wanted. Kate's brow wrinkled. This party was getting worse by the minute. And where are the candles? She snapped. Amy held up her hands defensively. I was just told cake. Nobody said anything about candles, she said. But it's my birthday, Kate said. Oh, it is? Amy looked at her, genuinely surprised. Happy birthday. Lizzie, Miranda, and Gordo gaped at Amy. How could she have not known it was Kate's birthday? Oblivious to Kate's disappointment, Amy wheeled the cake over to the living room. All of a sudden, Kate saw a crowd of hungry people reaching for a birthday cake. Wait, she cried, running into the living room. Don't eat my cake. You haven't even sung me happy birthday. Kate wedged herself in front of the crowd, trying to hold them back, but a group of rowdy guys shoved forward and pushed Kate, face first, into her cake. When Kate stood up, her face was completely covered in frosting. She wiped her eyes, crying, Stop! This isn't happening! Lizzie, Miranda, and Gordo stood frozen in their spots. She's right, said Miranda. I'm glad we didn't leave. Amy tried to dab at Kate with a pink paper napkin, but Kate pushed her hand away. No, move. Get away from me, you snakes, she cried, her eyes filling with tears of embarrassment. She shoved through the crowd and ran from the room. As soon as she was gone, the crowd closed in on the cake. Harsh, said Gordo. It's hard to tell through the frosting, but Kate does look upset. Nobody deserves that on their birthday, Lizzie said. I'm going to see if she's okay. Lizzie ran after Kate, leaving Miranda and Gordo standing in the living room. Gordo hungrily eyed the cake.